In the 1980s, a film crew traveled to Indonesia to record a man named Chang. To the people who knew him, Chang was not a performer. He was a quiet healer who used acupuncture and internal practice to treat his patients. But the crew recorded something unexpected during his treatments. When they touched him, they felt a sharp current pulsing from his hands, a physical sensation strong enough to make them pull away in shock. The electrical sensations were only the beginning. Eventually, Chang tore a small piece of paper, held his hand over it, and concentrated. Moments later, a line of smoke appeared, and the material began to burn. Chang explained that this resulted from a biological manipulation of yin and yang energies. He described drawing a positive charge down through his body and pulling a negative charge up from the earth. When these two forces met in his abdomen, he claimed they functioned like a battery, allowing him to direct the resulting energy outward. The footage suggests a model where the human body is not a closed system. It presents the possibility that internal forces we assume to be automatic might actually be subject to conscious, manual control. Decades later, actor Mel Gibson described an encounter with a different practitioner that shared these exact characteristics. Gibson met a man who could project a palpable, kinetic force from several feet away. The pressure was strong enough to physically push him against a wall, lifting his heels 8 inches off the floor. This practitioner operated out of Shanghai, yet his training was rooted in the same internal healing traditions documented in Indonesia. These independent, nearly identical accounts describe a physical phenomenon witnessed by outsiders, yet the mechanisms behind them remain unaddressed in standard medical literature. Modern biology confirms a baseline truth: the human body is electrically alive. Every movement and sensation depends on it. Every heartbeat, muscle contraction, and conscious thought relies on measurable electrochemical signals. Every cell maintains a difference in electrical charge with the outside world. Traditional teachers like Chang hypothesize that decades of disciplined stillness allow a person to pool and direct this naturally occurring voltage. This training moves past the simple goals of biofeedback, instead demanding years of concentration to isolate and recognize internal biological signals that usually remain beneath the threshold of awareness. Chang's claims do not strictly violate the laws of physics. Instead, they propose a reach for biological limits of concentration that science has yet to verify. The outside world eventually demanded rigorous, laboratory-controlled testing to prove the footage was not the result of a hidden device or a trick. Skeptics noted that hidden batteries, chemically treated paper, and selective editing could explain every demonstration the film crew recorded. The pressure for evidence led to the chopstick incident. Chang demonstrated his ability by pressing a wooden chopstick through a solid table, an act of power performed solely to satisfy the pride of outsiders. This created an ideological friction. Modern science requires public exposure and infinite repetition to verify truth, while Chang's tradition demanded secrecy, specific purpose, and moral restraint. As the demand for proof intensified, Chang retreated to protect the rules of his discipline, leaving the investigation in a permanent deadlock. Because of this deadlock, the vintage footage of Chang will likely remain scientifically unproven. However, the obsession with debunking the man overlooks a diagnostic truth about how we perceive our own bodies. We calculate the trajectories of distant planets and operate global communication networks, yet we often lack the training to identify the electrical signals producing the movements and sensations within us. Earlier traditions viewed the body as an instrument requiring specific education, observing a single breath or tracing internal tension. Beyond Chang's debate lies a question about unmapped networks inside the body and the dormant potential when these systems remain unobserved. But before ever seeking a miracle, we must first learn to master the baseline biology of our own attention.